Hello there. I don't have anything really to show anybody today, but I wanted to make a video about this whole thing with YouTube that's going on. YouTube has a real chance of dying horribly. This whole monetization thing and the rules they're trying to put in place, it's just getting extremely complicated. What seems to be confusing me mostly about what YouTube's doing, they're turning around and they're saying you can't do this, you can't do that. No, sorry. They're using legal terminology, and they're doing it a lot. They're making a very broad statement about you can't do this without giving clear definitions. So an example would be you can't touch the stove. Now, well, yes, that's a good thing not to turn around and go touching the stove, but let's say the person who was told not to touch the stove was told to go and clean it. Well, they're going to be confused, hang on, I was told not to touch the stove and here I am being told to clean it. That can confuse people. So in other words, in order to be a bit more sort of central, don't touch the stove when it's on. That's a bit more clearer. And YouTube, I believe, is doing the same sort of thing. They're providing a very technical, very legal terminology, but not giving out a clear definition. The other thing I would find would be what Nintendo are doing by trying to completely outright stop people from posting their stuff on YouTube, doing like walkthroughs or how-to videos. Demonetizing them and preventing people from actually making a profit, yes, but trying to outright ban it, well, no. I've seen, I don't watch them myself, but there are a lot of videos out there where people are either showing you how to play a game or they just want to post their gameplay online. The thing is, that can be used as a form of advertisement, and if you look into the history of Nintendo, they're not really interested in trying to take advantage of all potential possibilities. If they see something they feel is not within their circle, they really try to just push it out, squash it, even if it ends up costing them a lot. Anyway, back to YouTube. The policies they're putting in place are really, it looks like it's only trying to protect the people who are out there that are the main players, which stifles creativity. For instance, if somebody or a small group decide to get together and they decide to start their own YouTube channel, they can be squashed very quickly because of what's going on, and this can take those people, demoralize them, and they can say, well, posting on YouTube isn't really that good. Go around, find another streaming service similar to YouTube, and there are a few out there like that. And they can sign up there. They can have their friends view it. And let's say, for instance, whatever group it is popular, or the particular individual is popular. People are going to start migrating over to that service, and this is where YouTube can fail. This is where a lot of businesses end up failing. It's the same as with normal businesses. If you don't allow, say for instance, a small group or individual to start up their own channel, and if they want to monetize it, well, you stifle their creativity, you refuse content. Now, you can refuse content such as, for instance, videos that are purely racist, or does it fit into what you're referring to as your community guidelines without giving a clear definition of it? This really needs to be looked at. No, if anybody from YouTube's watching this, it might be an idea to create what's called a dumb list, where you say, well, okay, you can do this, but we don't particularly like this. This will prevent your videos from being demonetized. If you take these actions or do these actions, we're going to completely delete the video. Doing something like that, yes, but to just simply go out and blatantly block without any... Personally, I'm not interested in doing monetarizations. Also, if somebody wants to turn around and say get funding for their own YouTube channel, instead of turning around and trying to ban them, open up different services. For instance, give the option to say, well, okay, instead of relying on other services to do this, we'll open up a service that does the same sort of thing. Try to make it a bit more attractive to other people instead of trying to slam them. A lot of businesses have the problem where they'll turn around and they'll try to force, or services, for instance. Now, true. Sorry, this is not scripted. YouTube's decisions to simply slam onto people an option and any other possibility is completely taken out. That's not right. Well, it's not fair. That's another thing. So really, I'm rambling here. If YouTube is, or somebody from YouTube is watching this and they're sort of taking note, you don't want to force people into a product or service. If you do that, they won't like it. They'll get discouraged, more likely to search out for other alternatives, for other options, where if you say, well, oh, hey, okay, we've got people that would like to receive donations while they're doing a live stream. What can we do with that? Well, you could look at what people are using. For instance, if a lot of these people are using PayPal, try to do a deal with PayPal. Take a little bit of a nibble here, a little bit of a nibble there. So say, for instance, someone donates $5, take like 5 cents. Just as an example, it's probably going to be horrendous and a lot of people flip out. Still, turn around and try to find ways of giving people options without turning around and saying, do this or else. And anybody who's been running a business, anybody who's been running or dealt with a major corporation will know that if you try to force your customers into like one area, it doesn't go over too well. You're far better off saying, well, okay, you like computers, as an example. Instead of turning around and only offering, say, Toshiba, or desktops and laptops or whatever, turn around and you go, well, okay, what companies can I deal with? Dell, HP, Compaq, same sort of business, although it does kind of give options. Any smaller brands, hell, even your own brand. And I really hope hell wasn't actually a banned word on YouTube. But then again, who knows? It's really surprising when you sit there and you've seen things that have failed. I've seen businesses fail over time just by making some really horrendous decisions. And I feel YouTube's got that potential. What I really believe that YouTube should be doing is following Google's sort of phrase of don't be evil. Well, catch-22. You are a part of Google and you are doing evil. For instance, turning around and saying you cannot do that, and then just outright blocking them out, removing their videos. This is another thing that I find really interesting, is that places like PayPal, companies like PayPal, people treat them like they're a bank. I had my own mother ask me whether or not she should sign up with PayPal. Well, apart from not being technically minded, I'm pretty sure she had no clue about the kind of stress that she could be involving herself in running a small business and potentially losing up horrendously. So, no. I told her just stick with your local bank. Now, well, yes, there are people out there who have dealt with PayPal. They've used PayPal. They know PayPal. Fine. That's acceptable. But somebody who has no idea what they're doing, it's just it can seriously end badly. But really, I suppose you could also call it anti-American, or anti-democracy with what YouTube is doing. by only allowing monetization with people with 10,000 plus views, as an example, that's demoralizing. Now, yes, somebody with only, say, 100 views, they may make nothing. They may make 5 cents. It's just the idea that they're doing that will help them, help nudge them in the right direction. Having detailed information about, you can't turn around and call people in China beep. That helps. But to simply turn around and to block people or to delete a video or to remove monetization with no actual details as to why, that's more hurting YouTube itself than it is protecting it. I mean, anyone who's raised a dog would know you don't turn around and just simply hit them whenever you want to. Or if you see they're doing something wrong, you don't just turn around and give them a good whack and then walk away. Majority of canines out there that I've had to deal with in the past, and I did actually do it for a job, sometimes just looking at them and giving them a bit of a growl tone, say, don't do that. They react suddenly. They go, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. Same sort of thing here. Take somebody who turns around and the dog, say their dog does something it shouldn't do, and they just go completely flipping out and whack and hit them. Well, that's animal abuse, and well, it's not really that necessary. Well, an example would be if, an hour after the dog's actually done something, then yes. But doing it, say, straight away, not the whole hitting thing, but telling them no, more effective. They understand what they've done wrong. A lot of YouTube content creators don't understand why their video is demonetized. It just has a basic example, like I can't actually give an example, but I have seen people posting, well, this has been taken off the... I can't earn credit. Sorry, my device is starting to run low on battery here. Really? It's just hard for me to describe, and this video has probably gone on too long, but YouTube, you really need to change the direction you have been taking things. If you try to stop people without giving them details, without explicitly explaining why we're demonetizing this, for instance, point out during this part of your video, this was seen or this was said. Or during the whole video, this was seen or this was said. That would help. It would help to have It would help to have a place people could actually go to, and yes, it would be extremely lengthy. Still, provide technical details. A lot of people, yes, won't read it, but when people do something wrong and all of a sudden their videos get demonetized, they're going to go, oh, hey, what is going on here? Or even delete it. They're going to want to know why. And all these copyright claims that are just pushed aside. I can understand that a fair amount of them are, yes, but there are some that aren't. And instead of trying to take the time to do things properly, you don't. You just feel that, well, we can't be bothered doing things properly, so we're just going to push it aside, which makes your network look poor. Not as modern as you would expect. Anyway, this has been my thoughts on the situation. So anybody out there who suffering from this sort of thing and they're trying to do the right thing, it's understandable. And unfortunately for now, it's the cost of doing business. And that's basically my rant on that.